Picture this. You are sitting in your airplane seat at 30,000 feet, and massive dark storm clouds are gathering right outside your window. Enormous towers of swirling gray and white are rising higher and higher into the sky, growing more threatening with every passing minute of the flight. Suddenly, a blinding white flash explodes just beyond the glass, and a deafening crack shakes the entire cabin around you from nose to tail. Lightning has just struck your airplane, and every single passenger in the cabin goes completely silent in a shared moment of shock and disbelief. Your heart is pounding, your hands grip the armrests tightly, and your mind races immediately to one single and very uncomfortable question right now. Are you about to fall out of the sky, or is everything somehow going to be completely and genuinely fine despite what just happened there? What happens in those terrifying seconds after a bolt of lightning strikes a flying aircraft is one of the most fascinating stories in all of aviation. The full answer involves brilliant engineering, surprising science, and decades of hard-won lessons from real dramatic incidents throughout the long history of commercial flight. If you have ever looked out a plane window during a storm and felt that quiet, creeping sense of nervousness, this story is made for you. We are going to walk through everything from how lightning actually forms inside storm clouds to why modern aircraft are built to survive it safely. By the end, you will understand something that most passengers never think about until lightning actually strikes the plane they happen to be sitting inside. This channel explores the hidden science behind the everyday experiences we have, but rarely stop long enough to truly and deeply investigate and understand. If that kind of deep and satisfying curiosity sounds good to you, right now is a great moment to subscribe and stay along for the ride. There are many more stories like this one waiting for you, covering everything from engineering marvels to the surprising physics of survival in the modern world. But first, let us travel to where all lightning stories truly begin. High up in the sky, inside the clouds, where electricity is quietly being born, clouds are not just peaceful drifting water vapor. They are extraordinarily active and dynamic places, filled with enormous amounts of energy in constant motion. Inside a large thunderstorm cloud, tiny ice crystals and water droplets are constantly moving, colliding with each other, and rubbing together in turbulent, swirling currents. This constant collision and rubbing is very similar to what happens when you shuffle your feet across a dry carpet on a cold winter day. That shuffling builds up static electric charge in your body, and the very same basic physical process happens on a massive scale inside storm clouds. As lighter ice crystals rise upward through the cloud and heavier water droplets fall downward, the cloud begins separating electric charges in opposite directions from each other. The lighter, positively charged ice particles rise toward the very top of the cloud, high up into the cold, thin air, far above the warmer earth. The heavier negatively charged particles collect at the cloud base, slowly building an enormous pool of stored electrical energy that keeps growing stronger by the minute. Down on the ground below, the negative charge at the cloud base pushes electrons away from the Earth directly underneath, leaving the ground surface positively charged. The gap between the negatively charged cloud base and the positively charged ground becomes like a giant natural battery building enormous voltage between its two poles. That voltage difference can reach up to 1 billion volts, which is a number so staggeringly large it is almost impossible to meaningfully imagine or comprehend. Air is normally a good insulator, meaning it resists the flow of electricity quite effectively under ordinary calm atmospheric conditions that we experience every day. But when the voltage builds large enough, the air can simply no longer hold back that enormous electrical pressure trying to force its way through it. Electricity begins forcing a path through the air, creating an invisible channel of energized ionized gas called a leader stroke, reaching downward from the cloud. This invisible leader moves downward in a jagged searching path, almost tentatively probing the air as it works its way toward the earth below. At the same time, positive charges from the earth rise upward through tall objects like trees, buildings, and towers, reaching toward the charged cloud above. When the downward leader and a rising streamer finally meet and connect, a completed electrical circuit forms between the charged cloud and the earth far below. At that very instant, an enormous surge of electrical energy rushes along the completed channel in what scientists call the return stroke of the lightning bolt. The return stroke is the brilliant flash of lightning we actually see, and the entire event happens faster than the human eye can truly follow. The channel heats to around 30,000 degrees Celsius in an instant, which is roughly 5 times hotter than the visible surface of our own sun. The surrounding air expands explosively outward from that extreme heat, creating the powerful pressure wave that we hear as the sharp crack of thunder rolling across the sky. Thunder is literally the air around a lightning bolt being pushed outward so violently that it generates an intense traveling sound wave moving through the atmosphere. Now that we truly understand what lightning is, we can ask the far more interesting question of exactly what it does when it contacts a flying airplane. Airplanes fly through the same electrically charged sky, where all of this extraordinary atmospheric activity is constantly happening every single moment of every single day. Commercial aircraft cruise at altitudes between 30 and 40,000 feet, which often puts them above where most intense storm activity is actually occurring below. But aircraft regularly pass through thunderstorms during takeoff and landing, when they must fly through the lower cloud layers where lightning is most actively occurring. Lightning strikes aircraft far more often than most passengers ever realize. And when you first hear the actual annual number, it comes as a real surprise. The average commercial airliner gets struck by lightning approximately once every year, meaning every plane in a large fleet gets hit on a fairly regular basis. Studies suggest that globally, commercial aircraft are struck by lightning well over 10,000 times per year across all routes and regions around the entire planet. So lightning hitting an airplane is absolutely not a rare emergency. It is actually a fairly routine event in the world of commercial aviation operations. What makes this even more fascinating is that aircraft do not just passively receive lightning strikes the way a tree passively receives one on the ground. Sometimes the aircraft itself actually triggers the lightning strike through its own movement and presence within the strongly electrically charged atmosphere surrounding it during flight. When a metal aircraft moves through a region where the electric field is already very strong, but not quite at the threshold for natural discharge, the shape and presence of the aircraft can enhance the local field just enough to trigger the leader stroke to begin forming right there immediately. The nose of the aircraft or the tips of its wings can become the starting point for a lightning bolt that then connects up to a cloud. In these triggered cases, pilots often have absolutely no warning before the strike, because the discharge initiates from the aircraft itself outward toward the nearby cloud. When lightning contacts the airplane, it typically enters at one specific point on the structure and must find a conductive path and exit at another point. The electrical current flows along the aircraft's outer skin, seeking the most conductive available path through the complete physical structure of the airplane beneath it. Think of the aircraft as a conductor of electricity rather than an insulator, and this single idea changes completely how you understand what is actually happening. The outer aluminum skin of most traditional aircraft is an excellent electrical conductor, meaning electricity flows efficiently through it rather than dangerously through the interior cabin. Passengers inside the cabin are effectively surrounded by a metal shell that guides the lightning current safely around them on the outside and not through them. This effect has a specific name that you may have encountered before. It is called the Faraday cage, named after the brilliant scientist Michael Faraday. A Faraday cage is any conductive enclosure that redirects external electric fields safely around its outer surface, protecting everything located inside from the electrical energy outside. The aircraft fuselage acts as a very large and effective Faraday cage, protecting every passenger and crew member inside from the electrical energy flowing around the outside. Lightning does not pass through the aircraft invisibly without leaving evidence. It burns small entry and exit marks directly into the outer skin of the airplane. These burn marks look like small scorched bits on the aluminum surface, and they are typically around the size of a coin or even smaller. Maintenance crews specifically look for these marks after every flight through storm areas, carefully walking the complete exterior and inspecting the surface at very close range. Lightning can also travel along the outer surface of the aircraft between entry and exit points in a process that aircraft engineers technically call current sweeping. As the aircraft moves forward through the air, the attachment point of the lightning channel moves progressively backward along the fuselage surface during the brief event. This sweeping action can leave a visible trail of small burn marks across the fuselage, creating something like a dotted line recording the path of the current. These surface marks are the most common physical evidence of a lightning strike and are almost always cosmetically minor and quickly repairable without any major structural work. Aircraft are inspected with great care after any confirmed lightning strike event to check for all surface marks and assess the full extent of any damage. In the vast majority of cases, the aircraft returns to service on the same day or very shortly after, once the inspection confirms everything is structurally sound. But specific areas of the airplane require extra protection because the basic Faraday cage effect alone is simply not sufficient protection for the most critical systems there. Fuel tanks are by far the most critical area because even a single small electrical spark inside a fuel tank could produce catastrophic and unrecoverable consequences. Aircraft fuel tanks are housed inside the wings, and lightning current flowing through the wing skin during a strike passes very close to those fuel-filled spaces. Engineers must guarantee with absolute certainty that no electrical arc, meaning no spark whatsoever, can occur anywhere near the fuel vapors present inside those wing tanks. They achieve this by designing the entire wing structure so electrical current flows smoothly and continuously without any interruption across every connection, joint, and fastener it encounters. Any bolt, rivet, or panel seam with even a microscopic gap could allow a tiny spark to jump across it during the high current event. Aircraft manufacturers bond all of these structural connections extremely carefully, using specially designed conductive materials and precisely controlled assembly processes to eliminate any possibility of gaps. Static discharge wicks are mounted along the trailing edges of wings and tail surfaces, and each one serves a specific and genuinely important engineering function. These small pointed devices, which look rather like slender needles protruding neatly from the wing edge, continuously bleed accumulated static charge safely into the surrounding air. Static electricity builds up on aircraft naturally as they fly through clouds, rain, and different air masses at altitude, accumulating charge on the outer skin surface. Without the discharge wicks, this charge could accumulate until it discharged suddenly in a completely uncontrolled way that the engineers had not designed the aircraft to handle. The wicks allow this charge to dissipate gradually and safely into the air at all times, keeping the aircraft's overall surface voltage at a safe level continuously. Modern commercial aircraft are backed with highly sensitive computerized equipment that controls and monitors virtually every aspect of the flight from moment to moment without interruption. Navigation systems, autopilot computers, engine control units, flight management systems, and communication equipment all depend on precise electronic signals flowing correctly and reliably at all times. A powerful electrical surge from a lightning strike could theoretically overwhelm and damage these systems completely if they were left without appropriate electromagnetic protection built into them. That is exactly why every piece of critical avionics equipment is individually housed inside shielded metal enclosures with specifically designed surge protection circuits built directly into them. The wiring connecting all systems together throughout the aircraft is also shielded with woven metal braiding that intercepts and safely redirects any electrically induced surges away from components. These protective design measures are tested with extraordinary rigor, with engineers deliberately exposing complete aircraft systems to simulated lightning strikes throughout the entire development and certification program. Regulatory agencies like the Federal Aviation Administration require aircraft manufacturers to prove conclusively that their designs can survive specific demanding lightning scenarios without failure of any critical system. The testing process involves actually firing artificially generated lightning bolts at grounded aircraft in specialized high-voltage test facilities built specifically and exclusively for this demanding purpose. Engineers carefully measure exactly how much of the electrical energy from the simulated strike enters the aircraft structure and how much eventually reaches the sensitive systems located in. If too much energy gets through to any critical system during testing, the entire design must be revised and retested until every requirement is fully and convincingly met. Every aircraft you board has already been deliberately struck by artificially generated lightning many times during its certification program, long before it ever carried a single paying passenger. Pilots have their own specific protections too, since the cockpit contains the most critical and sensitive equipment found anywhere on the entire aircraft during normal operations. The windshield of a modern commercial airliner is not ordinary glass. It is a carefully engineered multi-layer, transparent composite structure with special properties built in from the start. It incorporates conductive coatings that help manage electrical charges developing on the windscreen surface and help reduce any risk of unexpected electrical discharge events happening there. Pilots are advised to keep their hands away from the control column During a confirmed lightning strike, if circumstances allow them to safely do so briefly, although the aircraft is designed and certified to handle the event safely, mild, momentary tingling sensations are theoretically possible in very rare circumstances during an actual strike. The flash from a nearby strike can be intensely bright, temporarily affecting a pilot's vision in a way quite similar to a very powerful camera flash. Pilots are trained specifically to manage the surprise, the visual disruption, and the brief disorientation a lightning strike produces, and then to act calmly and decisively. Detailed checklists exist for lightning strike events, and trained flight crews work through these methodically and efficiently to verify the integrity of all critical aircraft systems afterward. The goal of the checklist is to confirm every system is operating correctly, identify any anomalies quickly, and determine whether the flight should continue or divert for inspection. Communication with the airline's operations center begins promptly after any strike, ensuring qualified technical personnel on the ground are already informed and preparing well before landing. Cabin crew are also trained to respond to lightning strikes with visible calm and genuine reassurance, knowing their composure directly influences how passengers process and experience the event. When flight attendants remain visibly calm and continue their duties normally, passengers receive a powerful and immediate signal that the situation is not a genuine emergency. The professional composure of a well-trained cabin crew in these moments does an enormous amount of psychological work in preventing alarm from spreading through a frightened cabin. Most experienced travelers who have personally been on a lightning-struck aircraft describe the aftermath as surprisingly and almost anticlimactically uneventful in the end. The pilot makes a calm, measured announcement over the intercom. The crew resumes normal duties, and the flight continues to its destination without any significant further interruption. Now let us look at some real incidents from aviation history that directly shaped how we protect aircraft from lightning today, because the stories are truly remarkable. One of the most important events in aviation lightning history occurred on December 8, 1963, involving a Pan American World Airways Boeing 707 near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The aircraft was on approach when lightning ignited fuel vapors venting from the left-wing fuel tank, causing an explosion that tore the wing completely apart. The aircraft fell from the sky, and all 81 people on board lost their lives in one of the most studied accidents in aviation safety history. This terrible accident shocked the aviation industry deeply and led directly and immediately to new and far stricter regulations requiring better lightning protection for aircraft fuel systems. Before this disaster, aircraft fuel systems were not designed with the level of careful lightning protection that has been completely standard on every certified airliner ever since. Engineers completely redesigned how aircraft fuel vents worked and how electrical bonding around fuel tanks was implemented across the entire global commercial aircraft fleet afterward. The painful lessons from that 1963 crash are literally and permanently built into the design of every commercial aircraft that has been certified anywhere in the world since. Another historically significant event occurred in November 1969, when the Apollo 12 lunar mission was struck by lightning twice, just seconds after its dramatic liftoff from Cape Kennedy. Although Apollo 12 was a rocket rather than an airliner, the event provided enormously valuable data about how complex electrical systems respond to very large lightning current events. The Saturn V briefly lost power to several onboard systems, but the skilled crew and brilliant mission controllers managed to recover and continue the mission successfully. That dramatic event produced lasting improvements in how spacecraft and aircraft electrical systems are protected, and how critical operational decisions near active thunderstorms are made by crews. For commercial aviation, a well-documented incident occurred when an Airbus A340 was struck while on a stormy approach to a major European airport during a thunderstorm. The crew reported a loud bang and a brilliant flash, but every system continued working correctly, and the landing was completed in a completely normal manner. Incidents like this carefully documented one have helped engineers better understand exactly how lightning attaches to and flows through the complex geometry of a modern large airliner. Data recording systems on board modern aircraft capture enormous quantities of flight information, and unusual electrical events can sometimes be identified and analyzed within that recorded data afterward. Researchers use detailed flight data from real lightning strike events to build more accurate computer models of how lightning actually behaves around aircraft in genuine operating conditions. These improved models allow engineers to test new designs virtually in simulated lightning environments before any physical prototypes exist, saving significant time and development expense for manufacturers. There is a community of dedicated aviation lightning researchers who work closely with airlines, manufacturers, and regulators to continuously improve protection standards for the entire industry worldwide. Their work is almost entirely invisible to the traveling public, but its results are present on every commercial flight that departs safely into skies thick with storm clouds. When investigators analyze a lightning-related incident, they examine the aircraft's position, altitude, storm structure, and the exact path the current took through every part of the aircraft. This thorough investigative process generates recommendations that feed directly into updates to aircraft design standards and maintenance procedures, making every future flight measurably and concretely safer. Now let us look at what modern aircraft are built from, because this area has changed dramatically over the recent decades of aviation history. The earliest commercial aircraft were built almost entirely from aluminum alloy, which is a naturally excellent conductor of electricity and handles lightning current very effectively and reliably. When lightning strikes an aluminum aircraft, the current flows smoothly through the conductive skin and exits cleanly without causing serious damage to the underlying structure in most cases. Modern aircraft increasingly use advanced composite materials like carbon fiber, reinforced polymer to reduce weight significantly and improve fuel efficiency across long routes and in all conditions. Carbon fiber is a reasonably good conductor, but significantly less conductive than aluminum, which creates a genuinely new engineering challenge for designers working with these newer aircraft materials. If lightning current cannot flow as easily through carbon fiber, it may search for alternative paths through areas not designed to carry electrical current. These alternative paths might pass through areas never intended to carry high electrical current, potentially causing unexpected and difficult to detect damage to wiring bundles or other nearby components. Aircraft manufacturers developed elegant solutions, integrating fine copper or aluminum wire mesh directly into the composite panels themselves during the manufacturing process at each individual panel level. This embedded metal mesh provides a highly conductive layer within each composite panel, recreating the lightning current management capability that aluminum skin had always naturally provided before. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner uses roughly 50% composite materials and required an extensive new lightning protection engineering effort spanning many development years. Boeing engineers developed a comprehensive lightning protection system for the 787 that involved well over 200 individual engineering changes from the original baseline design of the aircraft. These changes included the embedded wire mesh in composite panels, improved bonding connections throughout the fuselage, and enhanced electromagnetic shielding for every electrical system on the aircraft. The result is an aircraft that handles lightning safely, despite being built mainly from materials that simply did not exist in commercial aviation decades before. The Airbus A350XWB faced very similar composite material challenges and arrived at its own validated engineering solutions through the same demanding iterative process. Both aircraft have now accumulated millions of flight hours in service around the world, proving that composite construction and reliable lightning safety work together very effectively in practice. Let us pause and genuinely appreciate how much invisible engineering stands protectively between a lightning bolt and the passengers sitting comfortably inside the cabin just beyond the window. There is the conductive outer skin, the bonding connections at every structural joint, the shielding around every wire, and the surge protection built into every single electronic device. Each protective layer was conceived by engineers who understood the physical problem and the electrical physics well enough to design a genuinely effective solution. Every layer was tested repeatedly until the engineers were fully confident it would perform correctly in the real and unpredictable environment of an actual operational thunderstorm encounter. This layered safety thinking, applied systematically across an entire global industry, is what makes modern commercial aviation so extraordinarily and measurably safe, despite operating in powerful natural storms. Each protective system works independently of the others, so even if one layer were bypassed in an extreme scenario, the next layer would still provide meaningful protection. This redundancy philosophy, where no single failure can cascade into catastrophic loss, is perhaps the most important single principle in the entire discipline of aviation safety engineering worldwide. Let us now consider something many passengers have never thought about: the crucial role weather radar plays in keeping aircraft away from the most dangerous storm regions. Modern commercial aircraft carry their own onboard weather radar systems, typically housed in the nose cone behind the aircraft's rounded front tip where the radar antenna lives. This radar sends out pulses of radio energy ahead of the aircraft and measures how strongly those pulses reflect back from water droplets in clouds ahead. Areas with heavier rainfall and larger droplets reflect the radar signal much more strongly, appearing on the cockpit display screen in vivid and easily readable warning colors. Pilots use this radar picture continuously to navigate around the most active storm areas whenever their route and air traffic control clearances allow them to. Air traffic control also provides weather information to crews in flight and can approve route deviations to help aircraft avoid particularly severe storm cells directly in their path. Despite all these avoidance tools, completely avoiding all thunderstorms is simply not always operationally possible, particularly during busy approaches and departures at major congested hub airports worldwide. Airport approach and departure paths are fixed corridors through the sky, and sometimes those corridors run directly through areas where active thunderstorm activity is happening at that moment. During unavoidable storm encounters, the multiple layers of lightning protection built into every certified aircraft become the primary and fully capable line of defense for all. Pilots also adjust airspeed when flying through turbulent storm conditions, flying at a speed that keeps the aircraft within its certified safe structural and handling operating envelope. What pilots do not do is attempt dramatic altitude changes or extreme evasive maneuvers to escape lightning, because those actions would create far more risk overall. The safest response to entering a storm is to fly through it smoothly and professionally, trusting entirely in the aircraft's carefully certified engineering and the crew's extensive training. Let us shift now to one of the most visually dramatic phenomena associated with aircraft and electricity, the mysterious and beautiful phenomenon known as St. Elmo's fire. St. Elmo's fire is a glowing plasma discharge that appears around sharp points and edges on an aircraft when certain strong atmospheric electrical conditions are present around it. It appears as a faint blue or violet glow, flickering and dancing around the nose cone, wingtip edges, and propeller blades of aircraft flying through strongly charged air. Pilots throughout aviation history found this glowing phenomenon deeply unsettling and puzzling, and ancient sailors also reported seeing this same mysterious glow at the tips of tall masts. The phenomenon takes its name from Saint Erasmus of Formia, the patron saint of Mediterranean sailors, whose name was affectionately shortened over many centuries to simply Elmo. Today we understand St. Elmo's fire as corona discharge, where the local electric field grows strong enough to ionize and excite the surrounding air molecules. It is not technically lightning because no discharge channel connects two separate points in space. It is simply energized air molecules near the aircraft surface glowing steadily. While it can look genuinely alarming to anyone observing it, St. Elmo's fire is not a direct safety threat to the aircraft or to the people inside. Modern pilots treat its appearance as useful atmospheric information, noting it in their log while staying alert to the strong electrical field conditions it signals. Passengers who notice the ghostly glow outside a cabin window during a nighttime storm are often both genuinely amazed and deeply puzzled by what they are seeing there. Let us now address the question most people really want answered. Are the passengers inside the aircraft ever genuinely at electrical risk from a lightning strike? In extremely rare cases, passengers seated very close to windows have reported a very mild tingling sensation during a lightning strike on the nearby fuselage surface. This occurs not because current is flowing through their bodies, but because the rapidly changing electric field induces an extremely weak sensation through proximity to the outer skin. There are simply no documented cases of any passenger being seriously injured by direct electrical effects of a confirmed lightning strike on a properly certified modern commercial airliner. The Faraday cage effect of the fuselage, combined with the comprehensive electromagnetic bonding and shielding throughout the aircraft, is genuinely and provably effective at protecting everyone inside. The much more common safety concern during thunderstorm encounters is severe turbulence, which can cause passengers and crew members to be physically thrown about within the cabin. Flight attendants are specifically trained to secure themselves quickly when turbulence is encountered and passengers are always strongly advised to keep their seatbelts correctly fastened throughout the flight. Turbulence-related injuries occur every year in commercial aviation and are dramatically more common than any injury caused by the direct electrical effects of a lightning strike event. This is the genuine reason the seatbelt reminder is taken so seriously by aviation safety professionals everywhere. It protects you from a real and relatively common in-flight hazard. Understanding the difference between real risks and perceived risks when flying through a storm is genuinely useful knowledge for any traveler who feels nervous about stormy weather conditions. The lightning is managed entirely by engineering. The turbulence risk is managed partly by engineering and partly by passengers keeping their seatbelts fastened, as the crew always asks. Together, these layered precautions make flying through thunderstorms a genuinely manageable and safe experience, even when it does not feel particularly calm from the passenger's perspective inside. The aircraft is designed to keep you safe, the crew is trained to keep you informed, and your job is simply to stay seated with your seatbelt on. Now, let us explore the certification process more closely because it reveals exactly how seriously the aviation world takes the challenge of electromagnetic safety and lightning protection. The certification process for any new aircraft type is extraordinarily comprehensive, requiring manufacturers to demonstrate safe performance across thousands of different failure scenarios and environmental conditions rigorously. Lightning protection testing is a major component of this effort, involving subjecting the complete aircraft to both direct lightning effects and indirect electromagnetic induction effects during evaluation. Direct effects testing applies actual lightning-level electrical current to specific points on the aircraft's skin and carefully measures exactly how that current flows through the entire structure. Indirect effects testing precisely measures how much electromagnetic energy is induced inside the aircraft's wiring and systems when high current lightning flows rapidly around the outside surface. Both types of testing must be completed successfully and fully documented before any regulatory authority will certify the aircraft as safe for carrying passengers anywhere in the world. The specifications defining what the aircraft must survive are based on careful analysis of the most severe lightning strikes ever scientifically recorded in the natural environment. Aviation engineers design protection systems not for the average strike, but specifically for the worst-case extreme strike that an aircraft could ever realistically encounter during its service life. This fundamentally conservative engineering philosophy, where safety margins are maintained well beyond what is theoretically necessary, is deeply and permanently embedded throughout the entire global aviation safety culture. Specialized high-voltage testing facilities partner with aircraft manufacturers throughout the entire design and development process, working from very early concept stages through final certification and beyond. These world-class facilities generate precisely controlled and accurately characterized simulated lightning strikes, whose electrical properties closely match what aircraft actually encounter inside real operational thunderstorm conditions. Data from extensive tests feeds back into the design process, frequently identifying improvement opportunities that were never anticipated at the very start of the development. This iterative cycle of design, testing, honest analysis, thoughtful revision, and thorough retesting is precisely how aviation has built and maintains its exceptional global safety record over decades. Each time a new aircraft type successfully completes this demanding certification program, the safety knowledge of the entire global aviation industry grows measurably and concretely for everyone's benefit. The process is expensive and time-consuming, but that investment pays real dividends every single day in flights that depart and arrive safely through all weather. As we close this journey through lightning physics and aircraft engineering, here is something worth carrying with you the next time you board a flight into storms. Every flash of light outside a cabin window during a storm is met by layers of careful engineering, designed and tested specifically for that very moment. That knowledge is yours now, and we hope it transforms your next stormy flight from something that makes you grip the armrests into something that inspires genuine wonder